I love Chipotle. Like most teenage boys, I could eat, sleep, and breathe Chipotle. I thought they had healthy foods, environmental concerns, and farming all figured out. And then my local Chipotle closed for 2 days because of an E. coli outbreak. The public and I assumed that the root of the cause was farming. In fact, 55% of Americans distrust where their food comes from. Except my grandpa's a farmer, and he asked me one question. What if the problem wasn't entirely farming? To answer his question, I had to ask myself, where did my view of foods come from? Where did we as a society get to a state of uncertainty, mistrust, and misunderstanding between our farmers and our consumers? To be precise, it began during the Industrial Revolution. In 1920, 41% of Americans worked in the agricultural industry. By 2014, only 2% of Americans were farmers or ranchers. So imagine how large trusted brands like Chipotle influence us on topics we know so little about. Americans' generational and geographical disconnect from farming and where their food comes from, coupled with the growing impacts climate change is having on farming, created a perfect storm of complex issues that can't be broken down into bite-sized solutions. It has also led to misinformed people driving for policies that have unintended consequences. For example, it is true that the agricultural industry produces 12% of carbon emissions. However, it is also true that co-ops in California, Missouri, and Colorado are leading the charge to use ag tech and sustainable farming to decrease climate change impacts by 3 to 4% in the next 3 to 4 years. It is also true that livestock industries that switched from antibiotic to organic farming saw an increase of 3,000 airborne illnesses in the last 3 years. Farmers are also being told that they're too corporate, when in fact, only 1 in 200 farms are non-family owned. They're just like my grandpa, a hardworking farmer who loves his job feeding America. So why do we need to be more connected to farmers and where our food comes from? Well, quite simply, because the advancements that have been made in agriculture are creating the healthiest, safest, lowest costing food that we've ever seen. We need to put a personal face on farming. Organizations like 4-H and FFA are creating programs in urban schools and communities. We also need to build relationships to increase knowledge. Let me be the first to start. My name is Jake Bartlett, and I'm the grandson of an amazing farmer who cares for the food he produces very much. He spends hours learning how to use the safest and newest technologies, and he is training others on how to do this too. His name is John Hickman, and he's your local farmer.